I think this is important for our audience because we have a lot of grandparents and parents and people who could be stuck in the situation. I want you just to talk to them about the people, places, and things that have to change. Go ahead and just take a minute and talk to them.
Okay. If you don't change the people, places, and things that you're associating with, you will likely inevitably go back. And that's not a personal attack on any one person. That's just the statistics. That's just the facts. That's just the way it is. Everything has to change, and that includes family relationships. When one person in the family unit gets sober, everyone has to figure out how to accommodate for that sobriety, because the dysfunction that was in the family was built so often around the person who's using. It was built around me. There was enabling, there was fighting, infighting, all of these things, and that's normal in a family with addiction. So I would encourage anyone and everyone to encourage a loved one who has an addiction problem to change those things. Change your friends, change your associations, change the places where you are and the things that you're doing. Develop a relationship with God, because all the rest of it falls in place. And the fear of change, I mean, I moved from Minnesota to Louisiana with 3 children. It was a huge culture shock. It was very different, but worth it. And God took care of everything. So if you put God first, changing the people, places, and things, that part comes easy because He orchestrates it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, amen. But that's an important piece that a lot of people have to struggle with because, you know, that's where they got the reinforcement, that's where people like them,
Right.
or they got their money from it,
Absolutely.
or they got support from it in some way. I mean, for you, you got children, maybe they're helping you take care of your kids when they're
Yes.
smoking their pot.
Absolutely.
You know, and,
That's right.
And so it would be, you know, normal to go, well, you know, they're good people, right? All that kind of
Right.
stuff. But they weren't good for you.
Right.
Okay, and they were keeping you in your cycle of addictions. Okay, so then when did you start to realize, like, what I am doing? Like, when did you hit that powerless moment of, like, I'm just unmanageable. I'm a mess. Like, Jesus, like, where did you hit that place of, like, they call it the bottom?
Yeah.
And some people have, you know, they stumbled bottom, but where was that bottom place for you that said, I gotta stop?
Yeah, I think I knew so often that what I was doing was wrong, but rock bottom didn't come until I had a suicide attempt. I had been struggling, you know, mental health problems and addiction go so hand in hand.
Absolutely.
So I struggled so hard with depression throughout the entire experience. And I had contemplated suicide many times, but was afraid to go through with it. And there was one day when it was spiritual warfare. I know
Absolutely.
now. I didn't know then,
Absolutely.
but I was led to swallow a bottle of pills that I had been given. That was my rock bottom. I called my children over to me and I started to say goodbye to them. They didn't know what had happened, and my fear was that they would find me and then they would always have that memory. And so I called for help, and the person that I called didn't show up. And I didn't know the voice of the Holy Spirit then. But now looking back, He said, go look at that bottle. And so I pulled the bottle out of the trash can, and they had misfilled my prescription and given me a quarter of the dose that I was supposed to have been given. So I didn't have any side effects. I didn't, you know, nothing negative happened physically, but I immediately dropped to my knees in prayer, and I wept and I wept and I wept, and I said, God, I can't do this anymore. And it was within a week, my grandmother came and picked me up out of the situation I was living in and my children, and within a week of that, my mother came and they, you know, I finally admitted to somebody that I had an addiction when I hit rock bottom.
That's so important. You know, if you're out there and you're struggling with alcohol, drugs, or porn, or whatever it is, maybe you're addicted to social media, you need to tell somebody, because there's no way out until we confess our faults one to another. Then we can be healed. And so that was an important point for you to go, I need help.
It was huge.
I'm a mess.
Yep.
Okay, now you went to your grandmother and your mother, which if your grandmother's out there, you know, if you got kids, young, you know, teenage or young adult grandchildren, go and talk to them, encourage them, tell them they have a safe place, right? Because that was a safe place for you.
It was safe.
You knew she was going to love you.
Absolutely.
Right, because she's proven that, right?
Absolutely.
And then Mom came along, and then you walked into, how'd you get to Teen Challenge? How did you get to there?
So my
Because that's
mom,
that's a whole place, and I'm going to talk about that a lot.
right.
Because it's a great place.
It's a
all over the
wonderful.
country, yeah. So how did that happen?
So my mom suggested it, and I had never been to treatment before. I had never even admitted the addiction, and so when she said it, I said, that's a year-long program. You know, how do you know that I shouldn't just go somewhere short term? You know, you don't know that.
Give me a week.
Right. You don't know that it won't work. You know, 30 days. Who knows? And she said, I really just feel in my spirit that this is the right thing. And there's places you can go and you can bring your kids.
Where did you go? Because I know there's several of them all around the country.
I went to Louisiana.
Louisiana.
I was,
Okay.
I was living in Minnesota at the time, but Louisiana has a family program.
Wow.
And they were willing to take me with 3 children. So
Wow.
there's different stipulations at different family programs,
Sure.
but they were willing to take me with all 3 of my kids. And so they came with me and they stayed with me through the entire program. So not only did I get discipleship and ministry for myself and my own healing, I learned how to be a mom.
Wow.
And it was invaluable time spent with my children.
Okay, so you're in the program, you're showing up. What are some of the things that kind of struck you as like, oh, wow?
I think the very first memory that I have is when I pulled up onto the property. They picked me up from the bus station. I pulled onto the property, and a girl approached the van with this big smile on her face. And immediately I thought, I want what she has.
Right.
I want to be able to smile from a genuine place of my soul. She had a soul smile. Her eyes, you know, I wanted that so bad. So that was day 1 experience. Salvation happened day 2.
Okay.
You know, I had an experience with God in the chapel where I was filled with the Spirit on day 4.
Wow.
And so these were all huge, huge steps. And then honestly, it may seem crazy, but being able to do normal things and do them well and enjoy doing them.
Right.
Waking up with the kids in the morning, getting off to school, the things that I would have wanted to take pills to be able to do well,
Right.
folding the laundry, putting things away, staying on top of my classwork, those things were very, very transformational for
But you were
me.
gaining confidence.
Absolutely.
That you could do life.
Yes.
That you could do
That's
life
exactly
without being
right.
medicated. You could do life
Yes.
with your children as a mom. You could be a single mom and still have integrity and do it
Yes.
right and do it the way that you know God really wants you to do it.
Absolutely.
And they're seeing you transform in that process.
Right.
Now, one of the important things about addiction recovery is community. Talk about the community that embraced you as a single mom, addict, out of control,
Yeah.
you know, woman, and just going, okay, how do they embrace you?
I think it's key. They loved me exactly how I was, right where I was. They never had a reaction to anything that I said that was, you know, negative. It was always embracing. It was always love. It was the staff at Teen Challenge who really showed me the love of God for the first time that I was willing to really see it. When I came forward with stories or things that the Lord wanted me to confess, and they said, I love you anyway.
Yeah.
And they hugged me and they embraced me. And that community just continued to come alongside me in the hard days, in the bad days, in the good days. There was always prayer. There was always support. There was always someone with a smile and a hug or a firm hand if we needed that too,
Right,
you
right,
know, to help teach us discipline. So they were
But that community helped melted the shame.
absolutely,
And it helped build kind of a shamelessness.
yes, absolutely.
That, okay, maybe I, you know, got some scars, but I'm not worthless. I'm loved. I have value. Obviously, I tell people in recovery, like, you were so valuable that he chose you out of addiction. Do you know how many people die in there?
Yeah.
He pulled you out of there. So you must be precious.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so the community's helping you now. Talk about Teen Challenge from an experience with Bible study. Were you doing support groups? Like, what am I going to, if I go in there, because I want people to go to Teen Challenge.
Absolutely.
That's why I brought you here.
It's wonderful.
Because a lot of churches don't know about Teen Challenge. Okay, I do because I've done so much recovery work for 40 years, okay? But a lot of people don't know that they can send somebody and talk about it being a year, okay? Talk about that because it takes a while to reset your life.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
And to get this thing
Right.
changed.
Right. It's a slow and steady transformation of the mind. It's a day-by-day renewing of the mind. Every day, choosing to think godly thoughts, choosing to speak godly words, choosing to go to the Word for the answers in life that you need. And for many of us, it was so many years in addiction and dysfunction that it takes time to restructure the way that you respond to everything in life. And God is there with you every single step of the way. And so when you're there for a year, you spend so much time in the classroom where you're learning biblical principles. You spend time in a group setting where everyone's sharing their own experiences.
So you're in the Word. I mean, you're in the Word
Absolutely.
every day. I mean, because it's a
Constantly.
structured program.
Yes, sir.
Okay, they're not messing with you.
No,
I mean,
not
I
at
know,
all.
'cause I've had other people go there and it's incredible, actually.
Yes.
Why would you encourage someone to give up a year to invest in their own life if they're broken?
Because it's 1 year that you can gain the rest of your life and your eternity. What are you willing to sacrifice to have something completely different than what you now know? It's worth anything.
Absolutely.
There's so many things that you would give up some time for. What about the rest of your life? What about your eternity? It's only 1 year.
Right, and that's important because some people look at that, and usually when you're an addict and you're broken and you're a mess, you don't got a lot to offer anyway.
Right.
I got maybe an apartment that I'm halfway paying for.
Right.
I maybe have some friends who are helping me destroy my life.
We're sleeping on the couch.
And maybe I live in a community where I don't have the best reputation. I mean, when you go to Teen Challenge, it's not like you're like a superstar,
No,
right?
not by any means.
Right. Now, in there, though, they have superstars in
Absolutely.
Teen Challenge. I mean, they really do, because addicts are usually bright people. They're system thinkers. They're achievers. They're movers. They get stuff done.
Passionate.
And so, very passionate. And so, there's a lot of leaders that come out of Teen Challenge, and some of them stay in Teen Challenge to continue the discipleship of others. Okay, so you spent a year there. What has God done with you since?
So God called me into the ministry while I was there. He told me to stay with Teen Challenge and called me to be in the full-time ministry. And so I surrendered to that. I've been with the ministry. I was an intern for 6 months, and then I got hired on as staff. So I've been there since 2016. I'm now an addiction counselor as well as an ordained minister. And so
that's beautiful.
God's just done miraculous things.
And how does it feel now to use your mess as a message of hope to that girl who just walks in the door?
It's the most fulfilling thing that I've ever done. It's the most amazing position to be able to hold. I don't know what else I would ever want to do with my life than help disciple other people who are living in the trenches to serve the kingdom.
For more content and resources to help in your healing journey with Christ, make sure to follow Dr. Doug Weiss on Facebook and Instagram. If you'd like to share full episodes of this show with friends and family, subscribe to Healing Time Ministries on YouTube, and feel free to leave us a comment on any of Dr. Doug's social media platforms. Our team would love to hear your feedback and learn how Healing Time is impacting your life, your church, and your ministry.